One of my favorite layers in a food forest is the vine layer. They just creep and crawl and grow on so many cool things. You can make these awesome trellises. You could have them grow up established fruit trees in your food forest. You could have them shading areas where you need shade. You could have vines doing so many awesome things while at the same time producing you food. And so today I want to go over 9 vines that you can grow on your homestead inside your food forest to start beginning to produce food, to produce shade, habitat, and abundance. All right, now I'm coming to you from one of my favorite vines right here. This is a passion fruit, Lychee. This vine produces so much fruit when it's in season, which just happened to pass about a couple months ago, maybe back in January, December. It was kicking in full gear, and we were constantly making Lychee juice and turning into Lychee butter, sharing the abundance with our neighbors, and also having lots of awesome stuff to put on our food. I was able to build a really awesome bamboo trellis from bamboo that I have growing in a grove right next to this spot right here. And I really like messing around with bamboo, and I really love how the vine has been able to fill in and create this whole tunnel effect that separates 2 areas of our yard. And vines really have this cool effect that shrubs and trees don't really give you. So if you play with the vines, they can make awesome things. That brings me to another vine that is really prolific out here, and that is Chayote. Chayote is sort of like perennial squash that grows as a vine. Really easy to grow just by the fruit itself. It sprouts right up, and you get this awesome fruit that you can use like a zucchini or a squash in your cooking. And it's really beautiful when it grows. And you know, I used to have a lot of chayote growing here, and unfortunately haven't had much of it growing lately, but I remember really digging how it looked and how it grew. And hopefully build some more bamboo trellises around here and get some of that growing real soon. Now, growing in here with the Lychee happens to be a perennial Lima bean. And this is a really awesome bean to have growing. It produces these colorful lima beans that are great in soups and to boil up really well. And they provide a great source of protein for your homegrown diet. They tend to be slower growing than Lychee. The Lychee is out competing right here, but they do grow pretty prolifically once established. And you could have perennial lima beans filling up your pantry in no time. Another vine that I used to have growing here, but is not here now, is Ipo Gourd. Ipo is a large gourd that Hawaiians use as water carrying vessels, or also to make instruments such as the Ipo drum that's used in hula. And it grows mostly as an annual, and that's why I don't have it really growing anymore. Is a long time ago we had so many vines here that we grew so many Ipos. We just didn't really grow much after that. We had enough, and now we're finding that we pass some on to friends, or some got old or destroyed, and it would be a great plant to reintroduce back here on the homestead. The Ipo grows really easily from seed, just needs some nice little fertile soil to get it going, and a good sturdy trellis, because those Ipo gourds, if you doing something right, you could get some pretty big Ipo gourds. And they are awesome plants to have. They don't produce anything edible, but what they do produce has so many other uses that you may not have even considered the fact that plants can provide for you. So an Ipo plant is a great plant to be including into your food forest, more on the sunny edges where it has some space to be able to do its thing and not have to compete too hard with other plants. Another must-have vine that you need to include into your food forest is the perennial long bean. It's a bean that grows about this long. It's essentially a green bean, but just grows really long. And it is prolific out here in the tropics. It grows just by planting a seed in the ground and giving it some support to climb on. In fact, it's a great bean to put onto branchy plants in your food forest and be able to climb up them, because they will not outcompete and strangle your plants as much as, say, lilikoi or even chayote or something like that. So perennial long bean, a great plant to include in your forest and to use the vines to be able to work in and using the existing mature fruit trees in your food forest as a support system for them. All right, beside passion fruit or lilikoi, my favorite vine has got to be the vanilla vine. We just got our very own vanilla vine. We haven't grown this plant here yet, but who wouldn't love having their own vanilla being grown by themselves? I really hope this plant can reach the fruiting vanilla stage. I know it's going to take some work. Vanilla requires hand pollination when the flowers are out, because we don't have the native pollinators here in Hawaii. But with a little bit of work, you could have vanilla, which going along with my sugar and cacao that we have growing here, I'm going to be able to fill that sweet tooth, no problem. And vanilla is a great plant to once again use to grow within your food forest, using the existing trees as their support structure. And this vanilla vine is growing up our avocado, and as it grows up, we're going to keep it maintained so it stays low, so that we can hand pollinate the flowers very easily, and so that it doesn't climb up too far into our avocado tree. At my place, I live on a half an acre, and so I believe in getting as much as I can growing here as possible, but that requires a little bit more intervention on my part. And so I do a lot of pruning and keeping plants at size so they can fit in my space. And so if you have a small space, don't let that stop you. And don't let the idea of having certain plants co-mingle and coexist stop you either. You can manage those if you have the time, right? So I believe in good management of your plants and knowing what they're going to do. And this is kind of what I'm doing here, and it may not work for you. If you don't have as much time to put into the management, you may want to create a more dedicated trellis system for the vanilla vine. Well, shoots, guys, if you've been with this channel for any bit of time, you've known I've been going through so many aspects of a tropical food forest. I've created videos on types of shrubs to plant in your food forest, types of ground covers, even how to create your own very food forest here in the tropics. And if you haven't checked that one out, why don't you go ahead and hit this link right here and check it out for yourself. I'm sure it'll contain some sort of tips for you to be able to create a food forest of your own. Now, getting back into vines for your food forest. Another great one that you should think about planting is called the wing bean. The wing bean is this really cool looking bean that has these flares coming out of it, and it grows about yay long, and it's a really great plant to add into your stir fries. A really great bean that includes more protein into your diet, and it grows really well out here in the tropics, especially moist tropics. During the summertime, where it's not as rainy as during the winter. And so wing beans, give them a little bit of trellis, maybe just a little bit of a teepee with some string tied around it to be able to create the support for your wing bean to thrive and to provide you abundance all season long. All right, we have 2 more vines that you should be throwing into your food forest. And one of these we've already been talking about. We talked about it as being part of the root crop layer. It also can be a ground cover. And amazingly enough, it can also be a vine. And I am talking about the sweet potato once again. The sweet potato has edible greens, and it not only covers the ground and produces these awesome edible tubers, but it grows as a vine. And so it is another great plant to include in the vine layer of your food forest. Now, when you grow it as a vine, you're not harvesting it as much for the tubers, but more so for the greens. And it is a really easy plant to grow. And because of that, it should be thrown into your food forest. All right, and this last plant might surprise you. A lot of us already know about this vining plant, but many of us do not know that it can actually grow here in Hawaii. I am talking about grapes. Grapes are a well-known vine grown for juice or wine all throughout many parts of the world. And in fact, it can grow right here in Hawaii. We have so many microclimates here that we have the perfect climate for grapes to grow somewhere in the islands. In fact, in areas such as Kula on Maui or Volcano here on the Big Island, grapes are growing and have been producing. And in fact, there is a very warm tolerant variety of grape called the Isabella grape that can do well even in lower elevations. And in fact, on my website at homesteadinhawaii.com, I have a post going over how to grow grapes in Hawaii. So if you're interested, be sure to check that out. All right, well, shoots, guys, there you have it. 9 vines to include into your tropical food forest. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to know what's going on with what we're up to here at Homestead in Hawaii, I just want to let you know more videos are coming. In fact, I am in the midst of creating a bamboo treehouse that I want to document and show you from steps by step the process and how to build. I recently took a course with Bamboo U out in Bali, and I've learned all sorts of different aspects on building a bamboo house. And I'm going to take a little break on making videos and delivering videos to focus on creating a series of videos covering the construction of a bamboo house. So bear with me for a moment. I'm not going anywhere. You may not see a new upload for a couple weeks, but I assure you, you'll want to come back. All right. Aloha, everybody. Till next time, a hui hou.